Welcome to MFFL TV. I'm your host Dylan, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down some potential draft prospects that the Dallas Mavericks can go after. Now I know they don't have any picks at the moment, so I'm sort of just targeting second round draft prospects just because I think that's easier for the Mavs to acquire through a trade or maybe buying a pick. I don't really think they have the assets at the moment to trade for a first round pick, so that's why I'm keeping it towards second round prospects. As well as that, most of the players are big men, just because I feel like that is also a need for the Mavs. You know, someone to come in off the bench, maybe 10 to 20 minutes a game and could do a job. The main video will consist of 5 players, but I do have one honourable mention just because I couldn't cut it down any further. But let's get straight into it. The honourable mention will be breaking down Filip Petruzev from Serbia. He seems like a very good intangible big man. He has his basketball IQ, he's a good passer, has been known to step out to the 3 and hit some threes occasionally. Really good touch around the basket. He's also a good athlete. He's not a great athlete, so don't know how he'll translate to the NBA. But he seems like, he's got a lot of game. He can good pick and roll partner with Luka potentially. The good thing about Luka is because he can get people open, you don't really need the player to do much. If they can just roll hard to the basket and dunk, that's pretty much all they'll be asked to do. This guy definitely looks like he can do that. One knock is that he sort of finishes a bit weak around the rim, tends to lay things up instead of going for the dunk or being aggressive. As well as that, he's a good athlete, but he's not been known to be a great athlete. Tends to struggle with the bigger, more physical big men. So that could be a problem in the NBA. But I think, as an honourable mention, as a mid-second round pick, could be a really good prospect. Come in, give you a few good minutes, got some good touch. I think he could definitely do a good job, especially as an outlet for Luka. If they're running a pick and roll, he can just pop it into Petruzev, and he can make a play from there. He does have good basketball IQ, and I think that could be a really good, valuable skill set for the Mavs. But again, don't know how well he'll be able to guard a lot of the other team's bigs. He's not really quick enough to guard 4s, so that's why he's an honourable mention. Could be a decent prospect, but let's go into the 5 that I've narrowed down to. First prospect is Neemias Queta from Utah State. Big guy, 7 foot, about 250 pounds. Could really, I think, come in right now and do a job for the Mavs. He's coming off about 10 boards and 3.3 blocks a game. Really athletic, big, physical, strong guy. I think he could be perfect as a sort of replacement instead of looking at a player like Nerlens Noel. I think this guy could come in and do a job pretty easily as well. Good rim runner, good pick and roll partner for Luka again. And defensively, he is a monster, so I think he could really come in and do a job. He isn't projected that high either, so I think it wouldn't take much to get him. But I think he could really be a good pickup for the Mavs. However, like every rookie, he does have his weaknesses as well. He really has no 3-point game at all. He doesn't even attempt them. He's mediocre free throw shooter and turnover prone, which isn't a good combination, but he's not going to have the same role for the Mavs as he would Utah State. Look, he's going to come in 10 to 15 minutes a game, just bring in energy. He's a great rebounder, shot blocker, so he won't be asked to really shoot threes. I think as someone come off the bench and potentially change a game with his defense, as well if porzingis can't really handle the other team's big, I think he's a really good replacement. He's 22 years old, which some analysts look as a downside. They usually like younger players so that they can maybe develop a bit more. But look, I think he'd be ready right now for the NBA. He's got an NBA body, definitely physical presence, and I think he'd be a really good pickup for the Mavs if they could get him. But that being said, let's go to player number 2. 2 is Jericho Sims out of Texas. Still very raw, but he's got a lot of potential. Absolute freak athlete. He's 6'10", 250 with a 7'3" wingspan. If you've seen his highlights, he can just dunk from anywhere. He would be an absolute brilliant pick and roll partner with Luka. I think that'd be a really good option. A 44.5-inch vertical at the combine. Second highest ever, and I think he could just be catching lobs from everywhere, be a real threat. His stats from last season don't necessarily jump out at you. However, he's still really raw, doesn't have many moves in his arsenal. However, really good lob threat, can dunk it from anywhere, could just come in and change the game with energy. So I think as someone, maybe not 15, 20 minutes a game, but someone play around 10 minutes a game, come in, do a job, catch a few lobs. Sort of like that old Brandon Wright player. I think as a pick and roll partner, he's excellent. So someone that can come in with a second unit, bring energy, maybe hype the fans up a bit. I think he'd be a really good pick. However, like I said, really raw, no shooting whatsoever, free throw shooting subpar. So he could improve on that in the future. But I think in his current role in the Mavs, if he was to go there, he wouldn't really need to do much more than what he can. So I think, again, instead of looking at a big in free agency, I think he could really do a job coming off the bench, just provide energy. That's all he'll need to do. And I think he could really excel at that. So let's get straight into Charles Bassey from Western Kentucky. Another 6'10 guy, 230 pounds, 7'3 wingspan, good athlete. He brings a lot of similar traits to the others. Good shot blocker, good rebounder. He also did put up 17 points a game last season, so maybe that's something that could in the future expand at the NBA level, and maybe he could be a really good scorer. What's intriguing for Bassey is that, as well as that, he's also started becoming a decent three-point shooter. It is very inconsistent. One season he put up about 40% from three, then 10, now back to 30. But I think, with time, he does have a decent jump shot. So the mechanics don't look bad. I think over time he can definitely improve at that. And then he could become really good in the NBA as sort of like a maxi alternative. Someone who can play defense, grab boards, block shots, hit threes. And I think as a second rounder could be a real steal in the draft. He has shown some promise in switching out to guards in pick and rolls and playing defense, but not enough. That's definitely a place where he needs to improve. As well as that, also, like the other ones, a bit raw, doesn't have too many weapons in his arsenal offensively. However, look, we're not really looking for that at the Mavs. We're looking at someone to just come in, do a job, and I think he could definitely do that as well. If he could also transition into a really good three-point shooter, that would be amazing. But he's another guy in the second round who you can sort of take, could do a job straight away. He's athletic, can block shots, and I think that would translate really well in the NBA. That being said, let's definitely take a chance on would be Isaiah Todd out of the G League. He actually played with Jarrett Jack and Amir Johnson, so he's already probably got some veteran leadership next to him, and maybe they could have helped him grow as well. He does look like a very skilled player. Didn't play much in the G League, but looks like he's got a good touch around the basket, very athletic as well, good pick and roll partner. His one weakness is maybe settling for contested jump shots, which I think in the Mavs role he wouldn't really get that opportunity anyway. However, he does have the ability to hit threes, so he could be a really good option. Another 6'10", long, lengthy, athletic big that the Mavs can target. There is quite a few in this draft, especially in that later second round. There's also a few that I haven't mentioned. But I think he's a really good option. He's got good touch. He can hit the post fade, good pick and roll partner. Again, just another really good option for the Mavs. But let's go into the last and maybe the most intriguing option. But definitely not least, Usman Garuba from Spain. He was in the EuroLeague last season. And look, he's a bit different from a different mold than the other players. He's not a big, lengthy, athletic player. He's a bit undersized at 6'8". But look, he's got an NBA body. He's 230 pounds. He's got a really good motor on him, energetic, can run the floor, very athletic. Sometimes as well can grab the rebound and go coast to coast. His one weakness is that he is undersized. However, analysts do suggest if he has someone next to him that's big and can shoot, he would really succeed. We do have Porzingis, so maybe the two of them together could play and really do a job. He's very quick laterally, can really guard any position, really good defender. Also really good at guarding big men, so that could allow Porzingis to play off ball, maybe play help defense and get some blocks and maybe turn him back into the KP of old. This guy's very versatile, can play the 4 or 5. As well, if we're going to play small ball, can definitely push him to the 5. He would have no problem guarding. Very athletic. I think he'd be a really good prospect. I think this one would be quite hard to trade up for. But if the Mavs could do it, I think he'd be probably the best player overall of everyone I've mentioned. But look, Dallas do have a lot of options, a lot of players that can come in. He's not necessarily the rim protector that I've been talking about, but someone who could definitely bring in energy, hustle, grab boards, play help defense, play post-up defense, can switch out, guard the ball. So I think he's got a lot of skills that he could really be useful for the Mavs. But those are some players that I think the Mavs should target. Let me know if you have anyone else and what you think about this. In the next video, I'm going to try and talk about some trade packages the Mavs could do to land some of these draft picks. So stay tuned for that. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And I'll see you on the next one.